Alright, what's up, yins guys? Time for another video. I'm on a roll here. I did 2 videos like this already, and I don't care if you like the videos or not. I'm gonna fucking do it anyway because I'm on a roll. And this is another video about certain jobs that are easy as hell, ridiculously easy, that are not labor intensive, in which a person that was working at a place longer than you should be better at it than you, but somehow you end up being better than them. And in your own mind, you're wondering, you notice in your own head, and you're talking in your own head, damn, that's odd. You're better at it than them. You wonder, is it a lack of will on their part or what the hell? But they start giving you snake eyes or dirty looks, like you're supposed to read their minds, giving you dirty looks because you're better at it than them, and like you're supposed to read their mind, right? And then they start getting unfriendly and looking for reasons to say you did something to them or disrespected them or whatever, or give you backhanded like compliments or passive aggressive stuff. Find reasons to get pissed at you for find really petty reasons to get pissed off at you and start yelling, shit like that. Anyway, alright, on with the subject matter. The particular job in this might end up being a video series, but okay. And when I start with this part of the video, I'll ask all of y'all too, even ones that are lurkers that actually hate my guts for no apparent reason. You're the trolls, you're the lurkers. This is for everybody. Can you tape a box? I think everybody can tape a box, unless you have some kind of, like, I don't know, like a neurological disease, which is sad, definitely not funny. I mean, if you have some kind of reason, bad arthritis, which you should be on disability, and I'll say too, not to make fun of anybody that's mentally disabled. A lot of them, I've seen it, they can do pretty good fast. I have seen that. And then you almost want to say the old commercial, the insurance, even a caveman can do it. But anyway, yeah, taping boxes. I want to talk about that, especially taping boxes too. An aspect of it too, which I don't know if any of you guys watching this, even the ones that hate me, that even when tape guns are involved, I don't know about you guys, but a lot of us too, which also pissed people off, and they did that shit on. Oh, and that's another thing that was passive aggressive on purpose too, when you're too good at it. I'd explain to you when you tape empties, just tape only one end of the box, because then you make whole piles of them, different size boxes, and they get chucked over to people who grab a pile and fill them with product. That you'd be in that part of the job. But then there are sometimes one day they'd put you in where boxes that are already taped, you're a person filling those boxes and taping them up. In my book, you only need a tape gun for alright, you would, for a filled box, right? Because a box filled with product has weight to it, and it makes more sense to do it with a tape gun, because the end of the tape gun also has a thing that cuts the tape. Sometimes rolls of tape go bad, and I imagine any of you guys that know anything about this, you probably had experiences in making up new swear words when you get a bad roll of tape. But anyway, tape gun, it's because the weight on the box, and you can flip it and pull it real tight. And there are people that are damn masters at that too. But then there was also a backup plan. A lot of us smarter individuals, that the people I tell you that are jealous and mad at you for doing the job too well, you'd mysteriously, if you had to do the ones that you're filled with product, and they think that they're maybe fucking with you by all of a sudden, and it can be, some of the slightly higher ups, a notch higher up, not a supervisor, would be behind it, because you can see the look on their face. They might be laughing a little bit or giving you a look like they think they're doing something to you by somehow you not having a tape gun and expected to do the job. But some of us don't need a tape gun because in our personal lives, and maybe even in prior jobs, and I said too in another video, I'll tell you now, me and my partner had to move like 4 years ago, and I bragged about being able to do the stuff in different jobs. We didn't have a tape gun. A lot of us, even in our own house, even want to fill with empty box, fill the bottom, and and do the bottom, and then fill the stuff in. Well, in some boxes, when you're certain things, you don't want to roll the box around, but in certain jobs. What I'm trying to tell you is, some of us, if they try to do that on purpose, and you just all of a sudden not having a tape gun, or after a break or lunch your tape gun disappears, you know what I mean? The people would get somebody, you'd know who was behind it, because the person that whom sees that you're able to perform just as good or even better without a tape gun, get dirtier looks, and they would passive-aggressive statements and finding reasons to yell at you about, even though they're not the boss. They might be a notch up somebody else or whatever. Okay, I'm trying not to waste too much time on it, but I'm trying to establish a thing that, whether you have a field box or not, a field box, you can do it without a tape gun if you got practice pool of ways you do it. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but yeah. But okay, going back to, if you're on the end of where you're just taping one side of a box up to make a pile of giant piles and rows of boxes to send it to the person who's filling the boxes, right? In my book, you don't need a tape gun, and like I said, if you did it in your own house, I did it without a tape gun, you know what I mean? All you really need, is your hands. And some people, well, there are some people that do it, yeah, if they don't got a tape gun, for the empties, they'd just use a roll. Some of them did it like a razor knife or a tool, right? Smooth it down real fast, and then nick the tape off, and then just smooth that down with an underhand and repeat. But oh yeah, not to spend too much time on it too, you do it that way. Razor knives or any kind of tool isn't easy to come by, and those would disappear on purpose too, right? But some of us people that are smarter, and my favorite saying to my partner was, damn, I'm so good I can't stand myself. You don't need a razor knife, say cut a piece of tape or something. You can use something you find, a nail, like a wood screw that's pointy, if you don't even have like something like a ring knife. But yeah, a lot of us, you learn to improvise, right? Oh, and another thing too, reason why I did it, I try to tell you the stupidest thing I've seen too. I told you, jumping the subject, you need a tape gun in my book only for the box that has weight to it, which is filled with product or merchandise. But you did have people I regard as idiots, even though they were there longer than me or not. I don't know, they find a way to do it, but why the fuck you need a tape gun? Actually, in a lot of cases, you see a slight struggle with the person that knows it all. You can't tell them. You're doing it better than them by not using a tape gun. Why you use a tape gun to make an empty box where you're, making the bottom and making a bunch of empties to be filled. Sometimes the problem with that, even though people do it and they're too stubborn to see your better way and they're mad at you for it, the tape gun has more weight to it than the box. And I've seen some people where the box moving, and they're fumbling with it, trying to use the tape gun to plump up and close the flaps and tape the bottom of a box that is empty. Oh, and plus it also gets more complicated too, where a certain product has weight to it in jobs where you don't just go across the top like here, to fold the flaps on. You're taping the two ends too, so that the product doesn't break through the bottom. But then, when it was filled with merchandise by the other people, there was other kind of ways to tape it, and you'd even wrap it around the whole damn thing later on with a tape gun. I'm not gonna spend too much time on that. People know the gist of that if you have seen it. Some people that I shouldn't have to use a whole video to explain it, but anyway, yeah, I've found it was like, to make the empties, it was too much of a pain in the ass, so And I was gratified, like with the reasons why I explained to you, why trying to explain to you some essential excuse me, essential things which you figure out right off the bat, you know, backup plan when you know some fuckers over there would be, you know, making equipment razor knives, tape guns disappear, thinking they're gonna fuck with you or whatever. When, like I said, I was faster, you know, making empties without a tape gun. Why the fuck would you use a tape gun that's the object that's heavier than the box? I just used to. Oh, there was another trick, not to spend too much time on it, where the end of the tape or roll, you know, like you would keep it so keeping that from finding the end, you know what I mean? But anyway, yeah, you got good with taking a tape like this, and then smooth, and then anything. You don't need no fancy tool. People would make a big deal. Oh, I don't cut the razor knife. I gotta cut the tape for this. You can use a fucking, you know, wood screw you found. You know, you keep in your pocket. Oh, and that makes you gratified. You get dirty looks too, because, like I said, people do with equipment on purpose. And in some cases, if it's a woman, some of you women that have the longer fingernails, I've seen where they'd have maybe do something to the point on the one fingernail and say, you know what I mean? So that, you know, a fingernail that you could slap, kind of. I mean, you don't need a fucking tool. You don't need a razor knife. You can take a wood screw, a nail, or maybe a wood screw you had in your pocket. You left from an extra from something you were doing in your house, you know what I mean? So, somebody is very smart and ingenious, you know what I mean? But I regarded this a tape gun for a pain in the ass, and you had these people struggling with a tape gun, you know, and okay, not to spend too much time on that, but to finish this off, all that I explained, people observe. And they're doing it their way, and you're doing it a little bit faster. And even with making equipment disappear, you're able to pull it off. Because when I want to talk about taping boxes, that's one of the things that I regard as, if you will, even if equipment disappears, you don't need a hell of a lot of equipment. You like I said, you can take anything pointy, a wood screw, some kind of sharp piece of plastic. I mean, in some cases, it can even be a pointy piece of wood that say somebody picked up a pallet with a forklift or took pallets away, and a slither of like a pointy toothpick from a pallet, a piece of wood fell on the floor that somebody didn't sweep up with a broom. Oh yeah, I can use that. You know what I mean? Shit, you can use that wood screw to even open boxes if you had to do that in a job. But throw that in there too if you had to open boxes of a thing to do a thing, you know. Throw that scenario in there too. I shouldn't have to explain that. But anyway, there'd be things where people would see you doing better this way, and they're still doing it their way, and they were there longer than you, and you're putting out, say, empty boxes a little faster. And some people would praise you for it, but then these ones that are supposed to be in theory better than you because they were there longer than you, it's the other way around, and you're better than them, right? And who the fuck's fault is that? Lack of will on their part, stubbornness, burnout from the job, maybe, I don't know, the enthusiasm that happens too, or depending on who you are, you know, didn't go to sleep at a reasonable time, knowing you got to go to work, you know, and like half drunk in the night before, and then you got to go to the job. Or I'm not grouping everybody together, but whatever reasons, lack of will, job that is easy as hell. And I picked this one to end this video. I picked this one as a job I regard that even if some people steal your equipment, it's damn near impossible to get screwed over, you know what I mean? You can still do the job. And the people will act like you need a tape gun for it. I mean, it's freaking cardboard boxes. I mean, you know, okay, you're going, you know, and they're going up. and then you get maybe 2 or 3 or 4 done in for every one they're doing, and you're not even straining yourself. You're graceful, and plus you have a, maybe you might have it upon them. I don't know. You shouldn't have it over on them, even though you have prior experience with taping boxes. Even though they were there longer than you, but they probably had prior experience too, because they were there longer than you. But what I mean. But anyway, they get mad. What I mean. So like I explained to you about the job, but seeing all that, they get mad. Like the dirty looks, you're supposed to read their mind. You're supposed to. They don't say, "Oh, slow down, you're making me look bad," or whatever the hell. The dirty looks, then passive aggression, then comes the yelling in your face when they should be asking you something nicely. Where people will presume stuff right off the bat and yell in your face, and if they had a problem, wait a minute. The thing where you say, "Wait a minute, don't speak to me like a child or yell at me like I'm one of your kids." Ask me something and I'll ask you. Don't go, like that. Find or get all mad. Look for reasons to get mad and like you did something or disrespected them. When it's all because they started out with the dirty ass looks and they're mad and jealous because you did the job better, and once again they're supposed to be better than you, and you end up being better than them, and you're getting dirty looks for it. And who the fuck's fault is that? You're supposed to, go down a few notches so you don't hurt their bitch ass feelings? Of course not. What I mean?